you. Mr. Chairman, I take very much to heart Senator Feinstein's support, as well as the support of those through letters that she has supplied to me. Nonetheless, there are a lot of statements that this nominee has made that are very, very troubling, and they run a rather large gamut and span a large part of his career. I think we're familiar with some of them, and maybe there are explanations to these, in which case it would be useful to hear them. But to comment, for example, that the singing of America the Beautiful at a funeral was inappropriate, and the comment attributed to him was because of his, and I'm quoting, feelings of ambivalence and cynicism when confronted by appeals to patriotism. For a judge, that's a little odd, to say the least. His first comment after September 11th, 2001, at least according to an editorial in the Washington Times, was to worry that Americans would succumb to the seemingly irresistible forces of racism, nativism, and scapegoating. He has been, as an advocate at the ACLU, unable to succeed in challenges even in the Ninth Circuit, which is not exactly a conservative court. There was one case in Arizona that I was a little bit familiar with, but I did not recognize that he had been the lawyer in the case. We had a provision in our Constitution that was referred to the people of the state of Arizona, who overwhelmingly said that at least state business in Arizona had to be conducted in English. And he challenged that on behalf of the ACLU. He lost. And I understand that everybody is entitled to a lawyer, but as the top ACLU lawyer, he has a pretty strong record of a lot of very out of the mainstream positions, which many of which have even been rejected by the Ninth Circuit and even the California Supreme Court. There are a lot of statements about the way that background should inform decisions. We went through some of that with Judge Sotomayor, and I would want to know a little bit more an explanation, and I regret that I wasn't available for his hearing to ask him why he made some of the statements that he did. But there are just a variety of statements, some of which seem to just be a lack of care. But when you're a judge, you need to be careful. He was federal magistrate judge when he made this speech or made this statement. He said one of the things that he finds most rewarding, contributing to the development of the law via published opinion, especially if it comports with my own view of justice. And throughout his writings and advocacy, you do see a sense of that he has his own view of what justice is. That's not what a judge should bring to the court. We can't deny our life experiences and our own attitudes, but one of the filters that the Judiciary Committee provides for our colleagues who have to vote on these nominees is to determine whether a judge has been willing to leave his own peculiar private views aside when judging cases. I am, notwithstanding what some fine people have said about him, unconvinced that he has necessarily been willing to do that. And it just seems to me that this is the kind of nominee that I have a very hard time supporting as a fair and balanced and objective judge.
I understand, Senator Sessions.
Mr. Chairman, I asked unanimous consent to have the opportunity to put a statement in the record just in response to that. I don't want to belabor this particular hearing, but I'd like permission to add a statement to the record to respond to it.
Certainly. And one of the reasons we have these hearings, and I realize everybody's busy, but it seems that we have the questions too often for nominees subsequent to the hearing on issues that were available prior to the hearings. I wish everyone would find the time, if they're concerned, and I realize everybody's busy, to ask those questions at the hearing when the nominee can respond to them. But Senator Sessions wishes to speak, and then if nobody else does, we'll call the roll.
I think I would say that Senator Feinstein does really care about getting quality judges, and he's always worked hard on this. And the fact that she feels strongly in favor of this nominee has caused me to think carefully about it, and I have not come to the conclusion that she's reached, but I respect her work on it. As magistrate, during that time, in remarks before a law school, he said he finds it, quote, most rewarding contributing to the development of the law via published opinion, especially if it comports with my view of justice, close quote. Well, we asked him about that in written questions, and he claimed that this reference was directed primarily at matters which improve the administration of justice, close quote. But I think that's not clear to me that that's what the statement means if fairly read, but I'm pleased to see that he said that. I think justice is done when judges equally and fairly apply the law to the facts without consulting their own backgrounds, prejudices, and biases, and without respect to the persons or backgrounds of the parties before them. Call the ball and strikes. Similar to Judge Sotomayor, Judge Chen made the following remarks on more than one occasion. Quote, diversity enhances the quality of decision-making. Judges have to make determinations that draw not so much upon the legal acumen, but on an understanding of people and human experiences. Such experiences inform assumptions that affect legal decisions, which I think, again, suggests that he believes a judge is justified in allowing his life experiences, which are, I think, akin to biases, to influence a decision. And I don't think that's a healthy philosophy, and some other examples of that. He indicated in a follow-up question, I give him credit for this, that, quote, he did not believe that race or gender should affect a judge's interpretation of the law, close quote, and he does not, quote, believe that the quality of decision-making is affected by one's gender or race, close quote. So I would just say it's odd if he believes that he would make the original statement. But on balance, based on his background and records and statements, I have concluded that I do not have the requisite degree of confidence to provide him with a lifetime appointment where he might decide that he could use decisions to promote beliefs that he feels strongly about. Thank you.